With the overall markets now sitting at all-time highs, we've actually went through, it seems like what's 3 or 4 markets just in the past month, right? So you had large run-ups to all-time highs, big pullbacks, dips, and then a sharp run-up again. It seems like we just basically just lived the full life of 3 or 4 markets in here within about a month or so. So right now, where everything is sitting, we're kind of right in the middle of our earnings season. We still got a couple more big names in here that do need to report earnings this month. Nvidia, Baba, Marvel, things like that. But in this video, we're going to take a look at 2 stocks in here that actually are not reporting earnings until the beginning of next month. But these names are huge. And then obviously they could actually change the whole market depending on what happens with their overall earnings report. So right now, first off, we're going to take a look at Dell in here. A lot of IV coming in. You can see ever since May, just kind of a rocket in here, right? Just up and then look at consolidation in here, just trying to figure out where we sit and where we stand with these mid 400s, obviously pushed higher this past week. 514 on our highs in here. Now we're sitting at 490. We're trading about 497, 496 in here pre-market. This last trading session, obviously straight down about $10 as the market opened, and then straight back up, and then just kind of wandering out in between there and for the remainder of the session. So we're going to see what happens this coming week. Obviously, as we push closer towards that earnings report, things will change. But on the upside in here, what are we looking at? Immediate resistance, 500. Outside of there, we're looking at the highs, 514. Anything outside of that, it is going to be this upper trend line right here, trading right around that 523 area. To the downside in here, we're looking at 469, 460, and then 429. You have the 9-day EMA sitting at 420. So wherever that ends up, that could be a spot that we are going to have to kind of set up shop as well. Our immediate supports that we are going to be looking at, though, in between where we are and then that 469, we're going to chalk it up to just that 480 mark. Now, we mentioned our IV was relatively elevated here. By your, I guess, this Friday's expiration, which is going to be the monthly expiration, everyone's pricing in right around $34. If you go all the way out to your earnings cycle, that's priced in around $70 expected move. If you go to 9/11, about $89. You go a week out, it's going to be $90. So after that earnings report, things kind of even out a little bit and you don't get that much of an expected move being priced in. But until then, you're getting large moves in here being priced in by your options traders for this underline. And this is going to be a big stock in here that could change the way the markets move, right? Just depending on what happens in here. Obviously, Trump's always going to have something to say about Dell now. So as they report their earnings, we're going to see what kind of comments and tweets he makes to go along with that, and then see how that's going to affect the stock, and then obviously the overall markets to go with that. The other stock we are going to look at in here, it is going to be Broadcom. We have earnings coming up September 2nd aftermarket in here. It looks like everybody's pricing in right around a $9 expected move priced in by Monday's expiration Friday, about 17 bucks. If you go all the way out to that earnings expiration, you're looking at right around a $30 expected move in here. You can see basically red in here. That has a lot to do with Friday's trading session. We're down almost 6% on the day, almost $25 on the day from Thursday's close into Friday's close for Broadcom. So 400 is going to be the main level. I know right here our support is sitting at our resistance right here is sitting at 403, but really 400, that's kind of the big number in here. If we can get above that, then obviously outside of there, we are looking at those 430s or 429s. Anything outside of that, we're looking at 458, and then above there, we're looking at this high in here at 495. That's a spot that we hit all the way back in June. So we shouldn't get that much more of a pullback in here. We have this 50-day SMA sitting here right around that 363 as we're approaching earnings. Obviously, things could change, but that should be a spot, and especially since we have this lower trend line of this overall structure as well, being a nice footing for us, we should be holding that as we go into earnings. Outside of earnings, obviously that everything's up for grabs then, right, on that point. But until then, you have a lot of volatility, a lot of options volume, especially on the call side in here, as you're going into this earnings report. So we should have a nice hold if we do end up pulling back right around that 363. If not, then obviously outside of there, we are going to be looking down at that 346 and 324. But we should get a nice hold in here, at least up until that earnings report that's coming up in about a couple weeks. So that's what we're looking at in here. Again, I know that we have larger stocks and things may change geopolitically between now and then, but these stocks, especially Broadcom, with the big pullback that it had, I would expect the worst case in here at about 360, and then watch it hold, and then maybe a run up as we get into that earnings report. Whereas Dell, it might just kind of have to, it just wants to hurry up and get that 500 and then consolidate before the earnings as well. So that's what we're looking at in here. Both of these, let's see what happens as we continue on through the month of August and throughout this earnings season. So we'll see what happens in here as we continue on in our overall month of August. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.